Have you ever walked into a room, say a party, or even just your own kitchen, and you immediately know the entire emotional layout of the space?
Hmm. Before you've even taken your coat off.
Right. You know where the exits are, you know who looks stressed, who's holding their drink just a little too tight, and, for sure who you need to avoid.
And the kicker is you didn't even try to do it. It happens.
Exactly. It's automatic. It feels almost like a superpower, being observant or empathetic. But what if that superpower is actually your operating system running a background program that's just draining your battery?
Overheating the whole system.
And according to the source material we have today, maybe even warping the shape of your soul.
That is a heavy way to open things, but it's exactly where we need to go. We are digging into a really intense piece of writing today. It's undetected, no case file 7.
Oh,
Specifically, a section called Behavioral Patterning Hidden in the Mind, Body, and Soul.
no face, no case.
Yeah.
That title alone sounds like a noir thriller.
It reads like one too, but the thriller isn't happening on the streets. It's all inside your nervous system. This text, it challenges us to look at a concept we think we know, hypervigilance, and flip it on its head.
So it's not just about being jumpy.
No, not at all. It argues that this isn't about having a bad day or too much coffee. It describes hypervigilance as a total lived state of being.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to
Sure.
decode the hidden language of the nervous system. We're going to unpack a really specific term the author uses, something called the Magdylla.
Yes.
And this is the part that really hooked me. We're going to see how this same state creates two completely opposite types of people, the abused and maybe surprisingly the abuser.
That comparison is the game changer for me. It really is. It forces you to look at toxic behavior not just as evil or mean, but as a biological and spiritual malfunction.
Okay, so let's get into the dashboard. What are we actually talking about with hypervigilance here? Because I usually just think of it as, anxiety.
The source makes a really clear distinction. It says anxiety is an emotion, hypervigilance is a function.
A function.
Right. It's deeply embodied. It literally alters your functionality. It's not an app you can just close. It's the operating system, changing how you breathe, how you sleep, how you perceive reality.
The whole system is stuck. We always hear about the 4 Fs.
Exactly. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. A regulated system dips into those when, I don't know, a bear is chasing you, and then it goes back to rest. But this text argues a hypervigilant person is just constantly toggling between them.
They never actually hit rest.
Never.
Yeah.
They are scanning for threats 24/7.
The text lists some shared nervous system signs. And I
Yeah.
think the word shared here is so important. The source says these apply to anyone in this state, aggressor or victim. It's just what a fried circuit board looks like.
What jumped out at you from that list?
Well, the heightened startle response is the classic one, right? You drop
Yeah.
a pen and someone jumps a foot in the air. But the one that felt deeper was the constant scanning. It says this scanning is both visual and intuitive.
That intuitive part is heavy. It's not just looking, it's like reading the air.
Yes.
It's walking into a house and knowing instantly that an argument happened 10 minutes ago, just from the quality of the silence.
I think a lot of people listening right now are probably nodding their heads going, wait, everyone doesn't do that.
Exactly. And the cost of that is the inability to let go.
Yeah.
The text is very explicit about trouble sleeping and issues with being touched.
Which makes sense. If your body thinks it's in a war zone, closing your eyes or letting someone touch you is
A tactical error, you're exposing your flank. It's a vulnerability.
precisely.
And there's one more shared trait that I think explains so much conflict in relationships. It's the overreactions to tone shifts or microaggressions.
Oh, this is the classic, are you mad at me?
It is, but think about the mechanics. If someone's voice drops half an octave, a normal nervous system just filters that out as noise. A hypervigilant system flags it as code red.
Because in that state, neutrality doesn't exist.
Right. Neutrality is just a threat you haven't identified yet. Everything is data.
Okay, so that's the biology, the cortisol.
Yeah.
But then undetected takes this turn that I really wasn't expecting. It moves into what I guess we'd call energetic anatomy. It introduces this term, the Magdylla.
Yes, the Magdylla.
Now, just to be clear for everyone listening, this sounds a lot like amygdala, the part of the brain that processes fear.
It's clearly a play on that word.
But the text is using it very differently. How does the source define it?
It's definitely bigger than just that little cluster in your brain. The text defines the Magdylla as the energetic and spiritual core, or the axis of a person.
An axis, like a gyroscope.
I like that. Think of it as
Yeah.
your spiritual center of gravity. The source says this axis is your connection to divine will, inner alignment, and sovereign power.
Wow.
It's the part of you that knows who you are, that feels safe in your own skin, and connects to something bigger.
Okay, so if the nervous system is the wiring in the house, the Magdylla is the foundation.
Or the connection to the main power grid. The argument here is that hypervigilance doesn't just make you nervous, it cracks that foundation. It distorts your sovereign power. It literally changes your spiritual posture.
That raises the stakes a lot. We're not just talking about stress management anymore.
No, we're talking about a spiritual disruption. It changes how a person channels energy, how they embrace faith, how they see their own soul.
So this Magdylla can break in two different ways.
Yeah.
And this is really the core of what we're talking about today. The text splits this into two perspectives, the abused and the abuser.
Two sides of the same broken coin.
Let's start with the one that I think listeners will understand first. The abused. The source uses a phrase for their mindset that just gave me chills. Silent surveillance.
It's so evocative, isn't it? Silent surveillance. It's like you're trying to be a ghost in your own life.
It's like being a spy behind enemy lines, but the enemy lines are your own living room.
The whole goal of silent surveillance is to gather information without drawing fire. You have to know the mood of the room before the room knows you're even there.
And the behaviors listed are so specific. Overanalyzing conversations. That's a huge one. Just replaying the tape over and over. Did I say that right?
And that links directly to the fawn response we mentioned, people-pleasing. The text identifies this not as kindness, but as a preemptive strike.
Whoa! A preemptive strike. That completely reframes what it means to be a nice person.
Well, think about it. If I make you happy, if I solve your problem before you even know it's there, then you won't yell at me. I'm controlling your emotional state so that I can stay safe.
That's a devastating way to frame it. It's survival kindness.
Exactly. And physically, the text mentions fixating on safety cues. We talked about tone, but it also lists exit strategies, literally knowing the path to the door.
And staying alert for facial shifts.
Micro-expressions. The abused person becomes an expert reader of a jaw clench or a slight narrowing of the eyes because, historically, those tiny shifts meant that pain was coming.
It's hyper-empathy, but sort of weaponized against yourself. Okay, so let's bring the Magdylla back into this. If this is the state of silent surveillance, what's happening to that energetic axis?
The source describes the Magdylla here as becoming narrow, constricted, and coiled.
Coiled, like a spring.
A spring wound way, way too tight. Everything pulls inward. The text says energy gets stuck in the solar plexus and throat.
The throat blockage makes so much sense, that feeling of a lump in your throat or losing your voice when you need to speak up.
It's the physical version of it is not safe to speak. And because of that constriction, there's a disconnect between the crown, the top of the head, and the root, the feet.
Which leads to a feeling the text calls floaty yet unsafe.
Have you ever felt that? You feel unmoored, like you're drifting, but the water is full of sharks. You're not grounded, but you're not free either. You're just hovering.
Floaty yet unsafe.
Huh.
That's the definition of a nightmare. And the body language reflects it, doesn't it? Shoulders raised, chest collapsed.
It's the turtle maneuver. Protecting the vital organs. Hands clasped or hidden. And the speech pattern is specific. Speak softly. Pauses to test reactions.
That pause is everything. It's buffering. I'm going to put a sentence out there and wait to see if it explodes. And if not, okay, I'll add a little more.
And the text notes they keep physical and psychic space open for escape. They are never fully in the chair. A part of them is already out the door.
It's a tragedy of functionality, really. The system is working perfectly to keep them alive, but it's preventing them from actually living.
Well put. But now we have to pivot. We have to look at the other side of the room, the person who is causing the fear.
The abuser. Now, usually we don't think of someone dominant or aggressive as being hypervigilant. We think they're the confident ones.
And that's exactly the illusion they want to maintain. But the text argues that underneath it all, they are experiencing control-based hypervigilance.
Control-based. Okay, unpack that. How is an abuser vigilant?
Imagine that instead of being afraid of being hit, you are terrified of being insignificant or terrified of chaos. The abuser is scanning the environment just as obsessively, but they aren't looking for exits. They're looking for insubordination.
So when they correct someone's grammar or criticize how you loaded the dishwasher?
That's not just them being a jerk. According to this source, that's a symptom of a dysregulated nervous system. They are trying to soothe their own internal chaos by imposing rigid order on everything and everyone around them.
That puts a completely different spin on their anger. The text says they jump to anger to regain dominance. It's a panic reaction.
It's a maladaptive coping mechanism. They feel attacked by neutral or harmless actions.
There's that neutrality problem again.
Yes. If you're quiet, they think, are they ignoring me? Are they plotting? If you seem happy, why are they happy without my permission? It's this deep oversensitivity to perceived disrespect.
So what does their Magdylla look like? If the abused person's core is coiled and constricted, the abusers must be different.
It is. The text says the Magdylla here inflates or fractures.
Inflates. Like grandiosity.
Exactly. It's an expansion, but it's not a healthy one. It's like a balloon filled with too much hot air. It's described as overactivity in the solar plexus, driven by dominance, ego, and power addiction.
All fire, no hearth.
That's a good way to put it. And the text points out a tragic detail, a blocked heart center. It says for them, love is filtered through pride or resentment.
So they can't actually receive love.
Not cleanly, because receiving love requires vulnerability, and vulnerability feels like death to a hypervigilant controller. So there's a paradox. They appear grounded, they stand tall, take up space, but they're actually rooted in control, not alignment.
That is such a crucial distinction. Being grounded means you're stable because you're connected to the earth. Being rooted in control means you're only stable as long as you're holding everyone else down.
And if the people around them stop complying, the abuser doesn't just get mad, they destabilize, they fall apart.
And the body language is the total opposite of the turtle. Upright chest, clenched jaw, piercing eye contact.
Right, the scanning eyes become weaponized eyes. They use eye contact to pin you down, pacing, interrupting, raising their voice when not obeyed.
It's all about territory. Taking up sonic space, taking up physical space.
But, and this is so important, the source classifies this as a stress response.
Right.
It is still a nervous system misfiring. It's just misfiring outwards instead of inwards.
This brings us to the synthesis part of this deep dive. Because when you lay these two profiles side by side, silent surveillance and control-based, they look like complete opposites.
One is small, one is big, one is quiet, one is loud.
Visually, yes. But energetically, the source argues they are mirror images of the same dysfunction.
The text says it explicitly. Both are hypervigilant.
They're both trapped in that loop of scanning for threats. Neither can relax. Neither's really home in their own body.
Both are disconnected from that authentic peace we talked about.
But there's one line in the text that sums up the entire volume for me. It calls it the final truth. And this is the line that separates the victim from the villain.
Yes. For the abused, it's survival. For the abuser, it's supremacy.
Survival versus supremacy.
That's the crucial difference. The physiological state might be similar, cortisol pumping, nerves frying, Magdylla warping, but the intent, the outcome, they're diametrically opposed. One is just trying to exist, the other is trying to dominate existence.
It's a heavy realization. It humanizes the mechanism without excusing the behavior.
Exactly. It explains why the abuser is doing what they're doing, their Magdylla is fractured, it's inflating, but that doesn't make it safe to be around them.
No, it doesn't. In fact, understanding that their aggression is a form of deep-seated hypervigilance might make you realize how hard it is for them to change. You can't just talk them out of it.
Their nervous system is screaming at them that they need that control just to breathe.
And for the abused, understanding that their people-pleasing isn't a personality flaw, that it isn't weakness, but a coiled survival response that has to be so validating.
It reframes weakness as an adaptive strategy. You weren't weak, you were smart. You were surviving a war zone with the tools you had at the time.
So what do we do with all this? We've diagnosed the operating system. We know about the Magdylla. What does the source suggest for you, the listener?
Well, the text ends with some reflection prompts, and I think they're really worth sitting with, even if they're a bit uncomfortable.
They ask you to turn that scanner inward, but gently. One of the questions is, where in your body do you feel safety or fear most strongly?
That's a great question for your own somatic awareness. Is fear in your gut? Is safety in your shoulders? Or do you maybe not feel safety anywhere?
Another one that really hit me was, have you ever confused vigilance with strength?
Oh, that's a powerful one, especially in our culture, right? We value the grind, being on it. We value the leader who notices every little mistake. We often mistake being hyper alert for being competent.
But this text suggests it's actually a state of depletion. You're running the engine in the red and calling it high performance. Exactly.
And the question about control. How does control yours or others impact your energy flow?
When you try to control a situation, do you feel that Magdylla inflating? Do you feel your jaw clench? Or do you feel that constriction from trying to navigate someone else's control?
It's about noticing the state of your own OS. Are you running on silent surveillance or control-based anxiety?
And most importantly, realizing that neither of those states is where we're meant to live. We aren't designed to be coiled springs or inflated
We're
balloons.
designed to be aligned, grounded, connected.
We spend so much time analyzing our awareness, our ability to read the room. We think that's what keeps us safe. But I want to leave you with the final thought from the text, which is a bit of a challenge to everyone listening.
It's the ultimate goal, really.
We all know what vigilance feels like. We know what fear feels like. We know what scanning for exits feels like. But ask yourself this: what does authentic peace actually feel like when you finally turn all that awareness off?
Can you even imagine it? That's the question.
Thanks for diving in with us.
Take care of your nervous systems, everyone.